Hi, everyone. This is John Marr from Talk Marketing Academy, and today I want to show you a little bit about Riverside.fm, which is an audio and video podcast recording software that records in the cloud. So I want to do a little bit of a walkthrough here and show you how to use Riverside.fm. So when you sign up for an account and you first log into your Riverside account, you get to the studios page, which you can see here, and you can create a new studio. You can have multiple studios. You might have multiple podcast shows, so maybe you want to have a different studio for each show. In our case, we're like an agency, so maybe we want to have a studio for each client that we record with. Kind of however you want to organize things. You'll have a studio. Each studio will have its own link that you can send to people to join the studio and do your podcast recording. So it would be the same link, each week. So say you did you had a particular show, and that show always recorded on Fridays. You just send your guests that same link, and then every week they can join it, and it's not going to change every single time. So that's the way that kind of works. And I'm going to just click on one of these studios, and you can see that I have some past couple of recordings that I have in here. I'm currently on the recordings page, so I can look at the past recordings that I've done, and I could go into those and download the files, and I'll show you that in a minute. But for doing your first, recording, you actually want to go to the studio. So you sort of think of this as being like a recording studio. Okay, we're all going to go into the recording studio together, and that's where we're going to do our recording. It just happens to be that this studio is in the cloud, kind of like a Zoom meeting, instead of being in a physical studio. So I'm going to go to the studio by clicking the button up here. And then I'm going to put in my name here, and it shows that I'm a host. If I send somebody the guest link, they would be a guest here. And then you have to choose whether or not you're wearing headphones or not wearing headphones. And that's important because if you choose that you're not wearing headphones, Riverside will automatically turn on the echo cancellation setting to try to avoid having the sound from your speaker sort of feedback into your microphone and create echo. So it's recommended that you use headphones. I just have earbud headphones in right now. So especially if you're recording with a guest, that's really important as well. Just to make sure that their audio doesn't go back into your microphone and then they're hearing an echo of themselves. With the echo cancellation turned on, that shouldn't happen, but just to make sure you get the best quality if you're wearing headphones and you choose I am using headphones. Then over here on the right-hand side, I can see my video is working, but if I needed to change the camera settings, I would change that here. If I want to change my microphone options, which microphone I'm using, I could do that there. And then my speaker settings, I would do that here. I'm using this Shure SM7B microphone that's plugged into an audio interface that's going into my computer. So it's using this USB audio codec for both the microphone and for the speakers, which is my earbuds. But you might have something different there, so you can just change your settings. You can always change that once we're in the studio as well. So I'll go ahead and join studio. And then you can see that my video is over here on the left-hand side of the screen. And I also have the guest link over here, so I can copy that link. I can give somebody a guest link, or if I want to send them an invitation to just be an audience member where they can come and see the recording happening, but not participate, that's an audience link. And then a producer link allows somebody to come in and sort of just produce the show, maybe adjust volume levels during the show, play some audio clips, things like that, but not be seen or participate in the podcast itself. Most of the time, you're just going to want the guest link, which is the default. So you would copy that link, and then you can send that to them in an email. Or you can click this invite by email button there and put in their email address here and click send invite, and then Riverside will send them an invitation to the show, to the studio. All right, I'm going to close that. So for now, it's just me recording here. So I'm just going to hit record. And you can see that it gives me a little 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown. That's especially important if you are actually broadcasting live, which is an option with Riverside. You can put in options in the settings to go live on YouTube or a number of different other platforms, Facebook, and so that countdown would be important there because that's when you would actually be going live with the show. So you'd want to know when that's starting. But you can see that it says recording up here on the top. And then over here on the right side next to my name, you can also see that my audio is recording. Now, if I had a guest in here, that guest would be shown over on the side. They would also show up on the right-hand side, and I could see that their audio and video is being recorded as well. So just as a host, you want to sort of just make sure that you're not seeing any error messages there or anything like that, and that your audio and the audio of your guest is being recorded, and the video as well. Up in the top here, I can give this recording a name. I could also do this afterwards, so it's not essential that I do that now. But if I wanted to, just call this episode 3 while I'm in the middle of doing it, I can do that. Hit save, and now this is episode 3, and it will save with that name. And it has all the sort of normal settings here. I can shut off my mic or turn it on. I can turn on or off my camera. I can change my speaker settings. I could also do share if I want to share my desktop screen. If I need to show people something that's on my screen, I can do that. And then leave. You can leave the studio if you're one of the guests and you're leaving. You can just leave that. As the host, I can have the option for end session for all, and that would just kick everybody out. And then also I can stop the recording here, so you can see the timer is going here. We've been talking for 2 minutes. That timer is also up here on the upper right hand side. So I can hit stop on the recording. And now that has stopped this episode 3 that I've recorded. And now if I wanted to record another episode in this same session, say I scheduled a session with a guest, but I'm actually recording 2 or 3 episodes all at once. That's fine. I can just stop that recording, and now I can hit start recording again. It will give me another countdown, and then you can see up here in the right-hand side it says untitled recording. So this is a new episode. So now I can make this, episode 4. And again, I can change these names afterwards as well. Down in the lower left-hand side, there's a settings gear here as well. Let me just stop this recording. And I'm going to go over to the settings, and there's a lot of settings in here. Again, you can just sort of change your webcam and microphone and speaker settings just like normal. You can also adjust your output volume. It doesn't affect how the volume gets recorded. So this would just be like if your guests are saying, "Oh, you're kind of loud," or something like that. You could just lower that down so that you're not so loud. Echo cancellation is off because I'm wearing the headphones, but that would be important to have on if you were not wearing headphones. Mirroring the video is just for me. It doesn't affect the recorded video. And then my name, I could always change that here. That's the audio and video settings. The general settings are just the name for the studio, some public and private sessions. Let's see, the recording settings. This is where if I wanted to only record audio and not the video, I could do that here. The noise reduction is if there's some noises in the background, like air conditioners or something like that. You can turn that on and it will reduce those sounds. The sample rate. The participant video recording is whether or not it records the participant at 720p optimized quality or advanced quality, and then you could make that 1080p or up to 4K. But you'd really have to have a fairly powerful computer or a fast internet connection or both, to do that really high quality recording. If you know that you and your guests have that high quality, computer and fast internet connection, then that works. It's recommended that you just use the optimized quality at 720p, and for most applications, that would be totally fine. Oops, sorry, I went out of my studio. Let me go back in. And I'm going to have to go to the studio. Join. I'm using headphones, join studio, and then go back to the settings again. So those are the recording settings. Like I said, you can do live streaming. And so if you wanted to do that, if you have a YouTube, you can put in YouTube stream URL and your stream key here, so that when you go live with your broadcast, that'll just go live right to YouTube whenever you're recording. You have Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn. So, you have some options there. So your Riverside can be really great if you're doing live recording of podcasts, or live streaming rather of podcasts. Really handy tool to have that here. And then there's some advanced tools here just for whether or not the files are uploaded automatically or manually. In general, you want to have that on auto and just leave that alone. So that's all of the stuff that's in the recording. Oh, I forgot one other thing over here. You do have chat, and then you have a media section over here. If I click media, Riverside actually includes some little sound effects and things like that, like clapping and cheering, and a little bump joke drum hits, a little drum roll and laughing. So there's some things there that are built into it. If you have music, you can add that here with the add media files. So if you had music for your particular studio or your show, you could add those in here. This really is mostly for, again, if you're doing live streaming, you have this little soundboard here to be able to play the audio files of your music and other transitions between sections and things like that. So, again, powerful tool if you're doing live streaming. All right, let's get out of this and go back to, let's leave. We'll do end session for all. I'm going to go back to the dashboard and go to my studio, and you can see here's the recordings that I've done. So sometimes it can take a couple of minutes, for your files to upload. So don't be surprised if you just got out of the studio and then you try to go here to the recordings. You might not be able to see those immediately. But when you do click in, you can preview your full recording here. Yeah, see, this says the clip is still processing, check back later. So sometimes that takes a minute. Let me go back and do one of the ones that I did before. And you can, that's processing as well. Let's see. There's one. Live. Right. And here I am on a previous recording that I did, and I can preview that there. And then down the bottom, I can see here's me and then all participants. So if I had multiple participants here, it would be me and the other participants. And I can click on these buttons here to download the raw video in MP4, raw synced video. Synced video, I think the only difference between the synced video and the raw video is if somebody joins the recording late, then it will sync that up with your video. So if they started 2 minutes into the recording, if they came in, then it will have that. It'll put like 2 minutes of blank space at the beginning to line it up with your video. So that's probably in general what you would want, especially if you have guests kind of coming in and out. But if you don't have guests coming in and out and you're starting the recording with everybody that's in there and nobody's joining or leaving, the raw video is probably fine. But I don't see any reason why you couldn't just do the raw synced video. Raw audio is the WAV file, and then compressed audio is the MP3 file. So, if you click on one of those, it will just give you the, just pop up a window for you to save those files onto your computer. If for some reason anything happens with those recordings and those don't work, you always have backup recordings. So those are kind of like cloud recordings. So if for some reason, instead of it recording individual files on your computer and your guest's computer and then uploading those, if those don't work out for some reason, then you always have a backup of the whole conversation. So generally you wouldn't need those. all participants allows you to download a kind of mixed together already, the audio already mixed together as one track, or the video all together in one video in a little grid. So that gives you some options, and I'll show you that. If I go actually back to, if I click the Riverside logo and go to John McDougall's studio, he has the welcome to Riverside video from the people at Riverside itself. I can just use this as an example. So in here, you can see that Bridget and Steven have their own separate recordings. So I could go in and download their video or their audio individually, and that's how I would get their individual tracks. Or I could download audio only, which is then the two of them speaking mixed together onto one track, or export it as a 1080p grid or a 4K grid or a custom export. And I'll just show you with the custom export. It's kind of cool because you can do this 9:16 sort of mobile phone option for things like YouTube Shorts, or if you're going to be you want a video and to post on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook, you can do a square video, or you can do a regular 16:9 video here for like YouTube. So if I do that, then you can see it puts the two, me and the guest, right next to each other, and you can add different little backgrounds to that. I could just add this like sort of light blue background. It gives you some options for the layout. That's just like sort of all together. This one has space around it. You can round the corners. You can keep the regular aspect ratio. So this would keep the full video wide and just put them next to each other side by side. And you can do like AI is sort of speaker layout is sort of like when somebody's speaking, it shows them as the full screen and it shows the other person in a little window. And then when he talks, then he'll be full screen and she'll be in the little window. So that's another little option there. That you can also have if you have multiple people in here, you could have one person is the person that's speaking currently, and everybody else is over here in a little list over on the right-hand side. So you've got some cool options there for doing that. You can do some editing down here on the track where, if you were chatting at the beginning for the first, few seconds, you can just drag that like that, drag the ending into here to wherever the end was. And then, so now I've set my beginning point and my end point, and then I can export that. So super easy, quick way to just get a video of your podcast recording and export it already edited into a nice looking, little clip like this, so that you don't have to necessarily know how to bring this into a video editing software and set this up yourself, which can take a little bit of time. You can just do all of that, right here, which is kind of cool. So I think that's more or less it. There are some other tools and some other editing, features and things like that. I'll just show you too that you can share your recordings up here in the upper right-hand corner. There's a share link. So if I had somebody that was, say, doing the editing for me and I wanted to share with them the files, I can just give them this share link, and then they can go in and download these files. So I don't have to download them myself and then send them to somebody to do the editing. I can just give them the share link, and then they can grab the files themselves from there. In a similar way, you can export, if you're using Adobe Premiere video editing software, I can export files right into, it'll take the individual video tracks and put them into your timeline and just give you the Adobe Premiere file so that you can then go in and do the editing from there. You can also export to Descript if you're doing audio and AI transcript editing. You can just export right to Descript and then do your editing there. It'll open up Descript right on your computer, and then you start to do your editing. So it's kind of cool. There is, again, there's some editing tools to do a little bit more here, but we won't get into that at this point, other than what I just showed you. And those are the basic, ideas on how to record with Riverside. So I hope that that's helpful. Just create a studio. Go get the link, the share link, to send to your guest to have them join you in the studio. And then when you're in the studio, hit record, and then you've got the individual, files of both video and audio right there for you to do whatever you want with afterwards. And Riverside includes a bunch of, already built-in tools to edit your podcast, especially video podcasts, to edit them and export a file that you can just immediately put right up on YouTube without having to do a lot of fancy audio and video editing afterwards. So really great tool. Really starting to just get into Riverside here and learn more about it. But I hope that's helpful. And for Talk Marketing Academy, I'm John Marr, and have a great day.